Showtime! The Capital G Show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here. So guys, I'm talking to Verz in this video, Evil Swarm, OPhion more specifically, and I guess this video is kind of like a barometer that you can use to judge how efficient or effective your deck is going to be with dealing with OPhion. You know, Evil Swarms are definitely going to be, in my personal opinion, one of the most played, if not the most played archetype when they are finally legalized in the TCG in right around 3 weeks from now. And, you know, their OCG success is something that has definitely been shown. The deck has, in my opinion, one of the top 5 XC cards ever to be printed, and it's just formidable. You know, OPhion protects himself from special summon high-level monsters, so it's very difficult to beat over him. And with the pandemic virus, you know, he does have protection from a wide variety of spells and traps. So it's definitely a hard card to get off the board, but I've got a couple of criteria that will basically break down, and you can use these to basically judge any deck how effectively you're going to be at dealing with OPhion. My first criteria was how many easy one-card monster effect outs do you have in your main deck to OPhion? I'll give you a prime example. Blackwings deal with OPhion pretty much seamlessly. Gale can just cut it in half and then attack over it. Kalut can pretty much boost any monster in the deck over 25-50. And in certain situations, 2-card outs are even acceptable for monster effects. As you know, I counted Sirocco. You can normal Sirocco, special summon a Bora, special summon a Gale. You can pump those guys up and then obviously just attack over the OPhion. And my second criteria, and I think people need to pay special attention to this one, if you need to side cards in for the Verz or for OPhion, how much of your deck's identity do you lose? Genix Ally Duradark is a fantastic card for dealing with Evil Swarms, just across the board, especially OPhion. But it wouldn't function well in a deck like Mermail, where it doesn't have any synergy and it doesn't help the deck facilitate what it wants to do in any way at all. So when I looked at my criteria, there were 2 decks that instantly came to mind in Hyradix and Karakuri, and I thought to myself, wow, these decks are really going to struggle with OPhion. In fact, I don't think their Verz matchup is going to be very good at all. You know, you look at a deck like Hyradix, and pre them trying to OTK you, their normal summon is almost exclusively reserved for Karakuri, and that's not going to deal with OPhion, so I mean, let's just throw that out the window. And you look at the way they facilitate all their plays. It's done almost exclusively using level 5 dragons, generally special summoning them. Well, OPhion is not having any of that, so I looked at their main deck and I'm like, you don't really have any ways of dealing with this card, and you can't rely on things like Gorz and Trago to defend against it either. So I'm really not sure how you're going to deal with it. Karakuri is in the same exact boat as Hyradix. I mean, yes, you can synchro spam for days, but if your opponent has the OPhion on the field, none of that synchro spam is going to happen. I'd actually argue that Karakuri is in an even worse position because they play so many spell cards that only interact with their level 8 synchros. You know, cards like Instant Fusion and Desynchro, I mean, those cards become completely useless if your opponent already has an OPhion on board. Now, there are ways to circumvent the OPhion lockdown problem without having to rely on going to game 2 and obviously winning the War of the Side decks, as those can be a toss-up. All you need to do is slightly alter your deck structure. I'll give you an example. Mermail players are generally expected to go from Mono Mermail, which most people are playing now, back to Undyne versions when Hidden Arsenal 7 is finally legalized in the TCG. This is because Genix Undyne, as you guys know, is a 1-card out to OPhion, and it doesn't make the deck suffer huge inconsistencies against other matchups. So when you play against like Fire Fist or Windups, it's not like, you know, these cards are only good against one deck. So one of the reasons why I made this video is I'm currently playing Heroes, and I was kind of concerned about Heroes' viability in a post-Evil Swarm world. You know, I judged them by the first criteria, and I thought to myself, I mean, we've only got Honest and Super Poly as easy outs to OPhion. You know, a lot of this deck's best removal cards, Spark, Depress, and Hero Blast, they're all spells and traps. So your opponent can just play the Pandemic Virus, and they can protect OPhion from those cards. And as long as he has a material on him, I mean, we don't have access to our Miracle Fusion plays, so that doesn't help either. I think that Hero Saving Grace is going to be the side deck. It's going to be the second criteria. 2 cards that I think are definitely going to aid us right now. Number 1, Snowman Eater is amazing versus the Verz. It's a 1-card out to OPhion, but more importantly, later in the game, it opens up your Ab-Zero plays, which are, I mean, just ridiculous. I personally think that Ab-Zero is the most important fusion in the extra deck right now because of what it does in the Mermail matchup. But if you put an Ab-Zero on the board against that deck, I mean, they can't make an Ophion after that because he doesn't have anything on Ab-Zero. And the second card that people need to realize is fantastic in Heroes in the side deck, Prideful Roar. This works excellent in a slow-paced beatdown deck. It adds utility. I mean, you can pretty much swap this for something like D-Prison, and it's basically identical. I mean, outside of the fact that you lose, you know, some life points here or there, it's unaffected by the pandemic virus because you can use it during the damage step, and it easily takes down an Ophion with any monster on the field. I mean, it doesn't matter if you attack with a Bubble Man or something like that. I mean, you can just take it down by battle. So those are two cards that I think that are going to really help Heroes out. And the reason I like those cards is because you can use them in other matchups. I mean, you can side in Snowman Eater versus Dino Rabbit and instantly kill a Logia. You can side in Prideful Roar against, you know, a mirror match and easily take down any of their monsters. So I think that these are some of the things you have to look at when the Verz start becoming popular, so that you can realize, you know, is my deck going to be good? How am I going to deal with Ophion? Because it's a card that's not going to go away, guys. So let me know what you thought. Let me know if you think I missed any decks. Let me know if there are any decks that you want me to specifically talk about and tell you how they're going to deal with the Verz. Thank you guys for watching, and have a nice day. I got beef with Duelist Grounds. They don't like my decks, and they don't watch my show. Well, I don't give a shit. So